Arkansas Bar Association members for ArkDocs on the hot dogs market. My name is Mark Settle, and I'll be guiding our webinar today. The purpose of this is to give you an overview of hot dogs market and how it works and how you can use ArkDocs within the market. So first of all, let me introduce the market platform. Actually, before I get started here, let me mention that I do have Jonathan Hoy on the line with us as well, who is the Director of Publishing at ArkDocs. If you do have questions as we go along, feel free to add those questions right into the chat, and he'll be monitoring the chat as we go and be able to answer some of those questions right as we go. And then I'll take some time at the end of the meeting as well to be able to answer any questions that you may have, that probably to review some of the questions that Jonathan has answered, as well as answer any additional questions. I would ask if you would be so kind to mute your line while during the demonstration, unless you have a specific question. But if you do have questions, I'd ask that you really ask them through the chat to start, and then we'll open up for questions more at the end of the webinar. All right, so this is the hot dogs market. The hot dogs market is an online platform for published hot dogs content. And so what that means is publishers such as Arkansas Bar Association and other bars and other publishers such as LexisNexis, they create hot dogs content. And that content has traditionally been distributed on CD or via download to use with a product called Hot Docs Player, which is locally installed software. Well, Hot Docs Market is an online platform for that distribution of that content to be used right within the web browser. And so you can think of it almost like an iTunes for hot dogs content, where you can come into a market and see available products to you and purchase them, but then the added benefit is that you can use them right inside the website of the hot dogs market. And that allows you to use that content in a browser anywhere where you've got an internet connection, which means you could use it on a Windows PC, but you could also use it on a Mac or an iPad or an Android tablet or another device where you've got an internet connection and a browser. So what I'm on here is the landing page of the hot dogs market. And here on the landing page, there's different information to find out what the market is. You can even watch a video to see and get a little bit of a description of what the market is and what it can do for you. I'm going to go to the market tab here. Here at the market, I can see various products that are available for purchase. And so I can see some products from LexisNexis. There's the ArkBar docs. And so there's where I can grab that product. You can see some other products as well from Minnesota State Bar and other organizations as well. So here a user can browse and see the different products that are available, even see some of the templates that are available. They can even search through with a keyword and find which products might have a specific template or something like that. Also, you can see with certain products, products might be restricted to members only. For example, ArkBar Docs is restricted to only Arkansas Bar Association members. So that means you have to have an email address that is listed inside of their member list to be able to purchase and use the product. So you can see there's members only, then there's also volume discounts available for buying more than one license. So if I go to ArkBar Docs, you can see here I can add this to the cart because this user that I'm currently signed in as a user. She is listed as a member of the Arkansas Bar Association to be able to purchase that product. But here in ArkBar Docs, I can see the product description that was listed by the publisher, even some previews of specific files that they may have uploaded. So these are just images to show you some of the content that they might include in their library. And then I can also even click on the library, and I'll be able to see all of the possible forms that I'll be able to get if I were to purchase this product. On the right-hand side, I can see my publisher or my subscription options. This is available at an annual subscription, and I can click Add to Cart to add it to my cart and then go through and purchase it. I can also buy multiple licenses. If I click that, you can see, there's different prices for multiple licenses. So you get a user discount as you increase the number of licenses that you purchase. I can go to my subscriptions. I can also see the publisher information. So here in the cookie crumbs, or down here in the right, I can click View Profile, and it will show me the publisher's profile. And I'll see there's the Arkansas Bar Association with their contact information and how to contact them for support. So you see some publisher online support. Publishers, they will support their content that they post on the market, But then you'll notice almost every other page, you'll also see this customer support widget that will get you to Hot Docs support representatives that can help you with any issues that you might run into with the market. With the publisher, you can see all their products as well. So if I wanted to purchase this product, I would add it to the cart and walk through it. Now I'm not going to walk through a purchase process. It's a standard e-commerce functionality where you have to register and log in if you don't have an account, and then enter some credit card information. We, save only the last 4 digits of that card, but we use a commercial credit card sourcing company to help with those transactions and make sure they're secure. And then once you've purchased your product, it will be available to you in My Subscriptions. So if I go to My Subscriptions here, we'll see I'm at the My Subscriptions for Hallie. So Hallie is the user here that we're using. She is a subscriber to pretty much every product on the market here. So it's our little demo user. So the first thing you can see here in My Subscriptions are latest working sessions. So working sessions are, if you've used ArkBar docs before, working session would be kind of an equivalent to an answer file. So when you create a working session, you can use that working session with 1 or more templates, and the answers that you enter in those interviews will be shared as you use that working session with each of the templates. So you can see some previous working sessions that I've worked with here, and you can see both in progress and completed. In progress means I've started an interview, but I've not completed it and generated a document. And then completed means I've actually gone all the way through the interview and generated out documents and downloaded them. And I can sort and search through these as well. And then again, I see my customer support widget. Down below my working sessions, I can see all of my subscriptions. So like I said, Hallie's got subscriptions to pretty much everything. So you can see all the different products here. But here's ArkBar docs. So let's say I wanted to assemble a specific form out of ArkBar docs. I would just click on that product. That'll show me the library, and I can search through that library for any particular form that I want to find. I can either navigate through by expanding the folders and looking through them, or I can search. So let me I'll type deed, and I can see all of the deeds that are available in here. And we'll do a commissioner's deed one. So I haven't clicked on that commissioner's deed because I want to generate a new commissioner's deed. The first thing it does is prompt me for a little bit of information on my working session. So it will give me a default name, but I can choose to name this whatever I want. So let's put this as John Doe. Well, let's use Angela Brown. And then maybe I want to name this with a client matter number, so I'm just going to put in a matter number. Say that's my matter number. Maybe I want to name it like that. Okay, so I can name this working session and hit Create New Session. On the right-hand side, I can also upload an answer file if I happen to have one saved locally. So if you've used ArkBar docs before locally and you've got answer files saved locally, then you can choose to upload one of those answer files into the market. I can also select an existing session. So that's if I wanted to pick up on some answer session that I've already created in the market. But I'm creating a new one here, so I'm going to hit Create New Session. So when I click that, it's going to create a new session. It's going to launch the interview. You see a little splash screen for ArkBar docs there, and then it's going to open up the interview. So what you get here is a browser-based interview for this form. So for those of you who have used ArkBar docs on the previous versions, you can see this interview will look very familiar to you. It's the same interview for the template as you would see, but it's just hosted in the browser. So as a user, I can tab through and answer questions in this interview process. But let me point out a few things about the market here. First, up here you see My Account. That's a button that will take me back to My Subscriptions. Underneath that, I see the current answer session state. So right now it's saved, and it will auto-save every 30 seconds or so. So if I answer a name in here, so let's say corporation, and tab through here, you can see this says not saved right now. But in a few seconds, we'll see that auto-save here automatically. There's the session name that I gave it. On the right, I see the product and the form that I'm using. And I have a button if I actually wanted to switch templates to any other template for a product that I've subscribed to. I can change templates right during my answer session if I'd like. There you saw it saved again. Down below, this is the actual interview. And a few things about this interview. Structure is the same as you've seen in the desktop. I have my interview outline, pages of questions, and my navigation toolbar. Down below that, I've got a little progress bar, so you can see overall progress in filling out the interview. So as I complete this interview, I'll see that progress bar go up. On the right, I see a resource pane. So if there's help resources assigned to a field, that toggles out from the right. I can actually pin that down below that navigation toolbar if I want as well. In the upper right-hand corner here, I have a save button that I can force a save. At any point, you see it'll save. I can also toggle back and forth to a document preview. So I still can see a preview of the document and an answer summary, just like I would in HotDocs Player. Then I have a help button that will give me help on all the different pieces of the interview if I have some questions about what an icon means or what I can do. Then as the user, again, I got to fill out the interview. So I'll say 123 Main Street, and it will be Suite 300, Bentonville, Arkansas. And I don't know zip codes there, so we're making one up. All right, so the name of the first attorney will be James Brown. He's private. I'm just going to fill this interview out. Now, if you're familiar with HotDocs and have used these interviews before, this will be very familiar. If you're not, this interview is completely determined by the template. So ArkBar Docs, they've built all of these products, and this Commissioner's Deed is simply going to ask me the questions I need. And as I answer those questions, even if things need to change during the interview, maybe I choose a certain answer, it may ask me some additional questions. As the user, all I've got to do is go through and fill that out. All right. You can see that progress bar moving too as I answer questions. We'll say the mortgage owner is XYZ Corporation. We'll put some defendants in. Defendant will be Angela Brown. She's female, and we'll make her address East 31st Street. All right, and we'll say no. All right, so I filled out most of the interview here. I make it, let's see. I'm going to put some gibberish in here just so that I don't have to answer it at all. Just in case if you're filling out HotDocs interviews and you didn't know, a few shortcuts. T for today's date, or you can type in a lot of abbreviations to dates as well. So if I did like 521, it give me the 21st of the current month, or 21st. May 21st of the current year. I could even type in, 13, and it'll give me the 13th of the current month. All right, so I'm going to type in some gibberish here as well. And we're almost done. And I missed one question somewhere. Middle name. Here and here. So these middle names could be left as optional. I wanted to fill it out and make everything green. So there we go. When I fill it all out, we'll see that progress bar go all the way up. You don't have to answer all the questions. I just wanted to see that come all the way up. So when I'm done with the interview, I just click Finish. So when I click Finish, what's going to happen is it's going to generate a document and give me some options here. So here I can click and download my document. So if I hit that button, gives me a standard browser, open, save, whatever the browser does for downloading a document, and I can open or save that document. That's going to open in Word off the screen here. So here is Microsoft Word with my Commissioner's Deed in it. So I've got my completed document with all the information that I filled out, some of it gibberish, some of it good. And so you can see the address, plaintiff and defendant, and all of the rest of the information. I can also go back to the interview if I need to change anything, if I missed something, or I get my document, I realize, well, that really should have been that value, and I want to update it in the answers so that I can use that value elsewhere. I can go back to the interview. I can also go back to my account. This does the same as that. Export answers will allow me to download my answer file. So if I hit that, I'll get a browser download of the answer file. If I want to save that somewhere locally, I'm going to cancel that. All right, so once I've done, I've generated my document, downloaded, I can print it, save it, whatever I need to do. I'm going to go back to my account. If I go back to my account, we can see here under working sessions, there's my session for Angela Brown. You can see it was last updated a minute ago, and it's completed because I actually generated and downloaded a document. If I wanted to go back into that session, it's as simple as clicking that name. It'll take me back into that same template, the Commissioner's Deed, with the answers that I provided previously. So I could come in and make a change. So let's say the case number, I want to put that in and hit finish. Now it will regenerate that document and save my session as well. And I can go back to my account. But there's my document, and I can get it again. Again, where it's opening up off the screen, but now I've got a case number in there. Also, if I go back to my account, I could pick up that existing session with a different template. So if I've been working with Angela Brown and did a Commissioner's Deed, I could open or delete or rename this session, but I could also come down to my ArkBar Docs product. Let's say I had a different deed I wanted to do. So let's do a quit claim deed entity. So I don't want to create a new session in this case. I want to select a session, and I get a nice selector here that will show me sessions from today and other dates, or let me search through all the sessions, but there's the one I want. So I can just hit add to session. And what it will do is it will open up an interview for the quit claim deed, but with that session's set of answers. And so anything that applies, and nothing really applies here, unfortunately. These fields are all different for a quitclaim deed. But anything that applied between those two templates, I would see those answers come in right into that interview. And I would just be able to fill out the additional information and quit. So I'm just going to go back to my account. All right, and so that's how a user might be able to go through and fill out forms, and you can pick up these working sessions easily by finding them. And if I wasn't sure, as I had more and more sessions, I can search through. And so if I type in Brown, it'll filter down to Angela Brown, and I can select that session and pick up where I left off. So there's a lot of easy ways to get to those working sessions and share those answers across multiple document templates as you fill them out. So you can see as you subscribe to a product, very easy to use right inside of the market. You're inside of an internet, website, and as long as you have an internet connection and a browser, you'll be able to use the market. So it'll work great from a Mac, it'll work great from an iPad or an Android tablet, and so it really allows you to access this content from ArkBar Docs on the go anywhere. It doesn't have to be locally installed on any machines at your firm. All right, so that's the My Subscriptions page. I'm going to take a few minutes and we'll review some of the other options here within the market. The first being transaction history. So transaction history, that will show me all of the transactions for products that I purchased. So Hallie's a little bit different. She's got a preloaded subscription for all of the accounts because she's a test account. But you can see any of the orders, whether they're active subscriptions or expired subscriptions, and you can actually click on this and see payment details that are going to be used and when it's renewed. I can choose whether or not I want to auto-renew. I can show the original order for this subscription and how many licenses I purchased. And so there's all of this information available to me here to see on each of my active subscriptions or previous subscriptions. So all of that's available to me here. I can also hit this update card details, and I could update my credit card information, and it will use that for all recurring subscriptions. It's a nice, easy way to take care of that. So a simple, straightforward page there for managing that. Content sharing. So content sharing is important because sometimes you are going to purchase more than one seat for a product at your firm. So if you're a law firm that's got 15 different people who use ArkBar Docs, you don't want to purchase it for one person and then purchase it again for another and another and have to purchase it 15 times. You want to make one purchase for all of those users, especially because you get volume discounts on the market. So you make that one purchase for more than one user, and then there needs to be a way to share that with the other users within your firm. And this is where that's done. Whoever owns that subscription, they come into content sharing, and they'll see that subscription listed. So here at ArkBar Docs, you can see there's 5 seats that Hallie owns, and she's only using 2 seats. There's 3 of 5 seats remaining, and I can click Manage Sharing, and it will allow me to type in an email address and share it with that user. It will show me who the active users are, and it will even show me active users of other products that I own a subscription to. So this allows me, if I've actually subscribed to more than one product, to easily invite other users that I've invited before. I would just be able to hit this button and send an invitation out to them. So I can send an invite out to like mark.settle1, which happens to be an email address at hotdocs.com. And that will send an invitation to Mark, and then he'll get an email invite that he can register and use and accept that invitation. Then I can also cancel that. So I'm going to cancel that. Notice one more important thing to note here. Hallie is the owner of the subscription, but notice she can revoke her own subscription. That's important because sometimes you might have an office administrator who actually is going to take care of the subscription but doesn't need to hold one of the user seats. So they can make that subscription and then invite the 5, 10, 15 users or whatever your firm users are, revoking her own subscription so that she can invite the appropriate users for that. So that's how you manage sharing. So an important way to allow you to use multiple seats at the same law firm for ArkBar Docs or any product that you subscribe to in the market. Connected applications. So connected applications, this is mostly an informational page right now, but let me describe a little bit of what will be coming here. So HotDocs, we have a great cloud offering called Document Services that has been around for 2 or 3 years now. It's a solution where you've always been able to take your own HotDocs content that you create and upload it and use it in a cloud environment. That application will soon be connected to HotDocs Market, so that if you have a market subscription to a product, you'll be able to use Document Services for free with that market content. And so connected applications, this is where you'll be able to enable that Document Services connection to be able to use it if you desire. So there's some great collaboration and other tools built into that Document Services application. And then if you build your own HotDocs content and you subscribe to market content, you could use all of that content in one place with Document Services. And it gives you all the same benefits of a browser-based implementation like you see using it here in the market. Also, we're enabling third-party publishers or integrators to be able to consume market content within their application. And let me tell you what I mean by that. There could be a case management software such as Clio or ActionStep where they may integrate with HotDocs Cloud Services and Market to allow market content to be used within their applications. And the reason that's important is then you might be able to have a way in here to enable some integration with Clio for your market content. And then in Clio, I'm using Clio as an example here, but if an integrator such as Clio did this, then in Clio you'd be able to see all of your market subscriptions right within Clio, and even possibly push, data from Clio would be pushed into your templates as you fill them out automatically. So Clio would have a way to enable their content to be linked to market content so that a publisher such as Arkansas State Bar Organization could make their content kind of Clio optimized so that when it runs in Clio, Clio data would automatically be pulled into the answer fields. So some exciting things that should come in the future on this connected applications page in the market. We're working on that. We're excited about that ability to be able to link to other applications. Finally, the My Details page. This page is pretty straightforward and makes sense, most of the things that you would see here, but I want to explain a few specific features. First, the My Details is mostly contact information here, but this email address is important. Your primary email address is the one that you actually register on the market with. But you can add in an alias as well. That's important because you might register with a specific address, but you might need to add in an alias that's a different address that you're actually listed as in the Arkansas Bar Association to actually be a member of that organization, because membership organizations are done by email address. So sometimes you may need to add a specific email alias as well. Membership organization, so Hallie shows up here as an Arkansas Bar Association member because her email address is listed in that bar organization list. Under account information, I can change my password or view account activity. On the upper right, I can also update credit card information, or I can also see some preferences, and these are the preferences I wanted to show. So communications, by default in HotDocs Market, you are opted into one type of communication, and that is receiving emails for your subscriptions. So anything that you have subscribed to on the market, you'll automatically receive email notifications if there's updates made to those products that you're subscribed to. And you're opted into that by default. So if you don't want to receive those, you would come in and uncheck that. The next two email notifications are off by default, but you can opt in if you want to receive email notifications on special offers from publishers or updates about specific changes that were made to the market. So that'd be like, new features added, etc., to the market. And then lastly, interview options. There's a single option here, but it's an important option to mention. In the Hot Docs market, we are very careful with user data. We encrypt answer data both when it's stored and in transit. We're following all the latest standards for cloud technologies for encryption and protection of data. So we're very careful about that, and your data will be safe as you use it in the Hot Docs market. However, there still are some users who may choose to not save answer data in the Hot Docs market, and that's where you can turn that off, is here in these interview options. If you uncheck that box, you'll have no ability to save answer sessions. So those working sessions will go away. You'll still be able to start interviews, and when you start a working session, you'll be able to upload an answer file locally, and then when you finish the interview, you'll have an option to download the answer file to save it somewhere locally. But you'll have no option to save those working sessions and those answers right on the market. And so you can turn that off here by unchecking that checkbox and hitting save. So we do give you that option to kind of opt out of saving your answers on the market if you don't want to do that. That's a basic overview of the Hot Docs market, how you would use your subscription to assemble documents and generate those output documents and pick up on previous answers, and then how you'd manage your transactions and shared applications and other information inside the Hot Docs market. So now is a great time to be able to answer questions if you have specific questions. I haven't noticed any specific questions coming up in the chat other than one question about, can you use this on a Mac? And I hope I've already answered that. But just to reiterate, because this is a browser-based application, this will work on any device where you've got an internet connection and a browser. So it'll work on a Mac, it'll work on an iPad, a Surface, or an Android tablet. It'll work on those devices.
Mark, I have a question.
Yes, please.
This is Kathy Underwood. When you were compiling the document or doing the interview questions, on the right there was a column that said resources. Can you explain what that is?
So I'm not sure if there's an Arkansas template. Let's see. I'm going to just go back into an interview here. There may not be one of these fields. I didn't notice any fields. So you may have noticed in the desktop version, and I don't have a I'm trying to think if I got a template that I know off the top of one of these products that has one. A template author can apply a specific help to a field. And when that help is there, there'll be a little light bulb next to it. So I don't know if you've ever, if any of you are ArkBar, I can't say that for some reason, ArkBar docs users have noticed that in any of the forms, but it's basically an optional help that's applied to a field. So when you enter that field, you'll see a little light bulb next to it. And if you click that light bulb, it will pop up and show that help text. This resource pane will show that help text as well. So if I went into a field that had help, when I went into that field, I'd see the help text here as a pop out, or I can also pin that resource pane down here. Let me see if I'm trying to remember if I've got one.
So for instance, information that guides you as to what to put in that blank?
Yep.
Is that
exactly.
what you're talking about? Okay.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm going to go into a different product. I'm trying to remember. I know I've seen in one of these forms that we've done in kind of a demonstration one of those help fields, and I was trying to see if I can remember one. Oops, sorry. Click that link. Maybe not. Jonathan, you remember any of these forms that might have a little help resource?
I think there's
it's
one.
It's really up to the template author to provide that, and so that's why I don't know a specific one. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think there's one on. Oh gosh, I think it's on the Allstate, one of the Allstate ones.
Allstate.
But there's so many, it's hard to.
There's so many there too. Yeah.
So, for instance, in some of our forms, we provide notes at the very beginning that's not actually part of the interview form, it's just at the beginning. Are they going to appear at the beginning of the form as they did in the desktop version, or would those be in a help document?
So if there are notes at the beginning of the form that are always in the interview, it will be in the interview still.
Okay. Okay.
So this is like an optional help resource that they can add to a field. And I'm sorry, I'm not finding one here. What I'll do, I know I've got one in a form. Let's see.
Well, that's okay. It makes sense that we don't have any because those instructions are actually built into the interview form itself.
Exactly. And so when you've got instructions like that you want to always be visible, you have them in the interview form so the user always sees them. This is more like an optional help. I happen to have the desktop version on my machine here, so I'll just show you really quickly in a different I'm going to show it to you kind of like in the player environment, but in this form, if I go into a desktop interview, this question has one on it. So you see that little help icon, and if I click that, it pops up a help, and then this resource pane down below would show the help. So
Gotcha.
This little yellow panel is that same panel. So a help like this would show up when I was in this field, but it would show up, you know, on the right here unless I choose to pin it down at the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
That's what that is. You're welcome. Other questions? All right. Well, certainly happy to stay on the line here and answer some additional questions. If you don't have any questions, we certainly appreciate your time for the webinar today. If you run into questions as you're starting to use...
Can you hear?
I can hear you now.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
hear?
Yes.
I bought ArkBar docs. It says 2014. Actually, never used it much. But how does that apply to what you're showing now? If it does, is it? I don't know what I'm looking at.
So ArkBar Docs 2014 was a product that you would get a CD or a download and you would install on a Windows machine. This Hot Docs Market allows for that same product to be used inside the market in an internet browser, in a web browser, without having to install that CD anywhere. And Jonathan, I don't know if you can comment on, I don't know well how Arkansas is handling, bridging users.
Sure. So if you have purchased a copy of ArkBar Docs 2014, you will be bridged, so you can continue to use the CD, but you've also been given access to Hot Docs Market, as Mark has shown today, through the browser, through the end of your subscription period there with your CD. At renewal time, it will be available only through the browser.
And I actually missed that. I didn't realize you had to download the GoToMeeting before you could get on. So I was late looking at the schedule of cost. We
are recording this webinar session, and there's an additional session, I believe, later in the month. So if you go to the Arkansas Bar Association website, you'll see this presentation, and again, you can also participate in another webinar session that's coming up later in the month.
I have that on my schedule. Thank you.
Certainly.
There'll also be a live session at annual meeting for anyone who attends.
Thank you.
All right. Other questions that I can answer? Okay, again, we thank you for your time. Like Jonathan said, we'll be holding another webinar later this month, and we'll also be providing a recording of the webinar for people to be able to view. We'll provide that to the Arkansas State Bar Association for them to post or circulate as they see fit. And we're excited for this new exciting product and excited for having Arkansas State Bar Association's products in the Hot Docs Market, and we hope that you have success with it. If you do have questions or any issues or concerns using the market or run into problems, again, on almost every page in the market, if I go almost anywhere, you'll see customer support with contact information to be able to reach our support department to help you with those questions. So please feel free to contact us if you run into issues. Thank you again for your time today, and if there are no other questions, we'll conclude.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for the folks in the ArkBar Association as well. Take care.